Good morning guys and welcome back to Gazza's Koi Pond. We're here, the official visit to Byer Koi Farm. We've come down to have a guided tour around his facility and to have a look, a couple of coffees, and to have a look at what he's got going on. So hopefully in the next, it's about 9:45, we got here a little earlier than what we expected. I've got Daz, Colin and DT Koi with me. Hopefully within the next 3/4 of an hour, half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, the rest of the gang should be arriving. We've got about, I think, 18 or 19 people turning up. So fingers crossed, we should be having a good day and get to see what goes on down here at Byer's. So till then, I'll catch back up with you in a tick. There we go guys, the entrance into Byer's. Lovely home, lovely house, and the beginning of the polytunnels and the entrance into the shop is just around off this small car park area. There they are, there's Adam and Amanda. Right guys, car park's full. Everybody's here. I'll spin camera around, have a quick hello with everybody, and we're going to get into this video. There you go guys, this is what it's about. We got Adam here having a chat with our Daz, DT having a chat. Communities guys, that's what it's about. Getting down here, coming down, meet new people, getting together, koi events. We've got our busy bee, Amanda there. Cole here feeling a little bit rough. Sorry bud. Sorry mate. Last night partying hard, burning the candle both ends. Diane, John, hey. Now this fella here, Ross, the pond guy, that pond guy should have said.
That koi guy.
Sorry, my God, the koi guy, my bad mate. How are your journey, bud?
Not a bother.
You want to tell everybody how far you've come?
Just an hour.
Just an hour.
An hour on the plane.
An hour on the plane.
An hour on the plane.
Appreciate it, mate. Honestly, really do.
Great to see them.
Yeah.
Great to see them.
You got Matt. Jeff. Fins there, the twisted one.
Are you okay?
We've got Bubble and Fins there, just trying to hide in the background. Didn't work that time. Got Paul, Rocket Boy.
Okay, I've moved out the way, guys. You get full frontal.
Hi, Bethany. Yeah, there you go.
How are we doing, everybody?
How you doing, bud? It's Scott.
Alright.
I think Adam's going to do us a little bit of an introduction. Oh, there we go. There we go. We nearly missed you out there, mate. Adam's going to do us a small little introduction and have a chat with everybody. And when he kicks off, guys, I'll pick the camera back up, let everybody mingle for a few minutes or so, have a bit of a natter and a chat, and I'll get back to you in a bit.
Is that everybody?
That's everybody, mate, as far as that. We've got one or two just picking up, the twisted one, picking up a coffee. Oh no, it'd be tea, won't it? Yorkshire tea. Is it Yorkshire tea, Adam?
There is some Yorkshire tea here, actually. There is some Yorkshire
There
tea.
you go, you see. Yorkshire tea. PG tips. Oh, you gutted, mate.
I spent a few years living in Leeds, so it lasts with you. Okay, so well, I think I've said hello to everybody, but welcome, big welcome to Byer Koi Farm. We really appreciate you guys coming to see us. We appreciate the interest, and I know some of you are super amazing and have been before. And so now you're all on the same level. That's great. So I'm going to show you around. We'll show you what we do, which is breeding koi locally here in the UK and breeding it at a standard which wins awards at koi shows, and also right through to pick and mix type fish for kids and savvy older people. So we do the whole thing. I'll show you our parent fish, I'll show you some of the koi we've got in production. You'll see some eggs that were laid this morning from our Kahaku spawning. You will see some eggs that were laid yesterday from Joyce Chiba spawning. So we'll show you whatever we can. We are an operating koi farm. We work, you know, at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day. We've cleared up as best we can. The public area is in the sales room, which is our neatest, tidiest, most sparkly area. Be thankful that we actually have like a reasonably nice floor now. It used to be, for the guys that used to come years ago, it used to just be mud. But so we've upgraded. But the rest of it is a working farm. So you've really got to watch your footing. There are trip hazards. There's nets. There's things that we are using, you know, on a day-to-day basis that you know that you need to watch out for, basically.
Working environment.
Yes, yeah. So there's that. We're set up with a sales room. We have a brood fish polytunnel. I think we'll go through there first, and that's where we have our brood fish. We keep our males and our females separate because we only want them to spawn when we say, and in set combinations as well. And then the second polytunnel along is our like growing polytunnel, if you like. That's the engine room really of the farm. Once we've spawned in specific combinations, and that comes down to female and male combinations that we try out from year to year, and when we hit on an optimized pairing, then we stick with that. Then they're grown on separately outside in our natural ponds, and then after about a month they're harvested at about an inch and they come inside and we rear them on in the recirculation systems. Because koi basically don't breed true, and because we are chasing quality, we breed the varieties true, if you like. We have the same variety on the male and the female side, and as I say, with the optimized pairing, which can sometimes take a few years to put together. But even out of every spawning, it's only such a small proportion that, just to give you a feeling of the ratios, for us, this on a pairing that actually works commercially for us, a successful pairing, it might be 1 fish in 1,000 fish that would be worth us growing for a second summer to take to Nisai. And you know, we might sell that from £125 through to a few £100 with a few specials above that. So that's 1 in 1,000. So we have to rear 1,000 fish to get one like that for that kind of sales price. Okay, on a successful spawning. Okay, and you know, for example, the fish that say that we have here in our pick and mix, like the 3 to 4 inches, okay, they will be coming out of 4th selection. So they are roughly a 1 in 100. So for us to have, and I was almost going to tell you that because obviously we've got the game today, guess the number of fish in the tank. It is the I know the number. I was about to say, for us to have that number of fish, we needed this number of like fry. But you know, we have to rear 100 fish to get one that we would then be good enough to put into one of our 3 to 4 inch mix selection even. Okay, so these are the sort of quantities we're dealing with. So we need a large volume of fry at about first selection size, which is 2-3 centimeters, around an inch. Our record for getting the fish up to that size is 27 days, but it's usually a week inside and about 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks outside. Okay. Once we harvest, we make our selections, we bring inside to the engine room where we would grow on the fish that we would grow on for the first summer, and we then drain the ponds and then do the whole thing again. And if we can get 2 uses out of the ponds in each year, that's great. We only have 6 ponds, we're limited, our site is very limited, unfortunately. We are much smaller than we really need to be. So that's something we're working on at the moment. But so we might get out of our 6 ponds, we might get like 12 goes. We produce about 250,000 fry a year in a reasonable year from that. We'll walk around the ponds, each pond producing maybe 20,000 fish to about an inch in size. So, no, go on.
We'll have questions after, shall we?
Just fire away now. It's fine.
So out of those fish then, those fried and those small, how many get through to the next wave?
Okay, so the question is out of from first selection, how many fish make it through? And in a successful spawning, about 5%.
Make it through.
Yes. But you know, year to year, what might be in my 5% in 1 year might be within the 95% of another year. Year to year, even with an optimized pairing, you know, it can vary. But I'm happy with 5%. I'm really happy with 6, 7, 8%, and I wouldn't just keep 5% if it wasn't there. So if it's sort of 1 or 2%, I would keep that, but then I wouldn't run that spawning again, or I'd change them out. You know, we change the pairings, that type of thing. Yeah. So that's the way we use our natural ponds, and that's the reason we try to reuse them. Is because I need as many goes as possible to rear my 20,000 fish, to try and get to that 250,000. And even then, across the year, there'll be maybe 5, 6, 7 fish that stand above the rest, which is such low numbers. And you know, this is one of the big drivers for wanting to expand, because you know, the more and more hobbyists are finding us, and they're finding that our fish work really well in their ponds. They may have fish there from, you know, imported from Japan, and ours stand up really well. And certainly for hobbyists that like that level, the sort of level that maybe our top 5, 10, you know, we'd like to have more of those customers. But it's so difficult for me to double the whole thing, to have this whole facility, to maybe rather than have 5 to 10, have 10 to 20. That's a huge endeavour. But that is actually what drives us. So whilst we work very hard to produce the best fish we can at each of the output points, if you like, the top 5 to 10 in the year, the 3 to 4 inch mix is, you know, really important to me, to be able to provide a really good mix across varieties and have nice examples there. All these things are really important to me, but it's all driven by scale, and then obviously being able to get more things right than don't go right. So there's that as well. Okay, that is a brief, if you like, summary of us. I'll tell you a little bit about me, because there's a lot of first timers here. This is not something that I've done my whole life. I used to effectively be in one of the professions. I used to be in one of the financial professions. Did that for 20 years, and the last 10 years of that, I freelanced, and I've always had hobbies. Koi breeding was a hobby. In fact, I've always bred fish. Even when I was a kid, I used to breed tropical fish. Actually, do you know what? We've got some bristlenose plecos in. There's a bit of a project to help keep clean some of our baby fry tanks. Yeah. We went to Bradley, who was our first employee. He joined us just over a month and a half ago. When he was younger, he used to work at local Maidenhead Aquatics. So we went up there. We picked up these bristlenose plecos, which is super cool. And I just love being around fish. You know, there's all the range of tropical fish. And I used to breed a lot of those fish when I was a kid. And so now I'm a bit of a bigger kid. You know, this originally was a hobby to breed koi with the objective to win competitive placings at koi shows. Okay, so that was my objective. You know, there are other objectives to produce unique fish, or you can have a whole range of objectives, perhaps, if you were to breed koi. But that was one I took on, because that was a way of baselining the output of the fish that I'd bred against a very good standard. And after a few years, we had lots of success at it, thankfully. And some of our feature, our champion fish are on the poster on the side of the building. And it's not just those 4. There's a whole list of them. They're on the website on the awards section. But we did a decent job. We had continual success year on year. And that, if you like, is what drives us. That's what drives the volume. And if you like, that all happened when I was a hobbyist. Once we won the Baby Champion 2016 All England Koi Show, which is with a kahaku, bred here, and we made international press. There was it sort of came up on Google, articles in other languages. People had written about that hobbyist achievement. It was something that we thought to be not possible, and so I've achieved it, and it took a lot of it took a lot actually. So I had a pretty full-on day job at the time, and then I had this pretty full-on hobby as well to achieve that. So I probably wasn't spending as much time as I should do with the family, but it had taken on so much. The site didn't look anything like you're going to see, you're seeing today. I had a polytunnel and a couple of ponds. There were just swimming pools, and there was no infrastructure per se. But it had taken up a lot of my time and investment at the time. So I really felt a personal pressure that I put on myself to make a success of it. And I guess fortunately we did. But that was the end of the hobby. That was the end of the hobby. Winning that award, we beat something like 80 or 90 other fish. Not only did we win Baby Champion at that show, that fish was best in the size 2 across all varieties. We had another fish at that same show which was best in size 1 across all varieties as well. So we totally wrapped up in the smaller sizes. I mean, it was like a major life achievement. I couldn't continue to put that kind of effort in. So we said, Amanda and I had a discussion about it, and we said, look, more and more people are wanting to buy our fish. We do have something here with that particular breeding line. Also starting to gain knowledge about the males we had and the females we had around kahaku. We could do something here to create like an escape to the country, do something different in life. I've already had a career in the professions. We could do something different and just have a slightly broader range of experiences in our life. So we decided to do that, and we incorporated in 2017. Amanda staffed it up at that point. Rather than going back to work, she would have been on a career break, so she sort of manned the phones, packed fish, shipped fish, whilst I maintained my day job and then still did this in the evenings. And it's taken all those years really till about 2 years ago to build up the facilities, because obviously it's as any of you building up a number of tanks will know, there's a huge infrastructure cost. I sometimes say that when I did the koi breeding as a hobby, at that time my sort of hobby budget was what somebody would typically spend on a 4,000 gallon, like a reasonably nicely spec'd 4,000 gallon pond. If you imagine whatever that is, that amount, I took that amount and I put a polytunnel up, dug 2 natural ponds, and bought a series of children's swimming pools and homemade filters and all that kind of stuff. That's sort of what I invested. So, which is quite a significant hobby sum to do my project. But going from that to being able to then stop being in the professional services and earning my living that way, and to earn my living solely through breeding and then selling our koi carp, has taken an investment probably 10 times that. So as well as the business needing to be successful year on year to help with that expansion, I also had to continue the day job to help to fund the expansion. And then COVID came in 2020. I had planned to go full-time then, but now a few years later we sort of know how the COVID period had been. But in February 2020 I had a freelance contract ending at the end of March 2020, and I was really worried because I have huge financial commitments, and none of us knew what was going to happen. And so I actually took a job at that time, a part-time job at that time. So I rather than going full-time here, I took a part-time job so that I knew that I would be able to cover my basic. I had some basic security, and was so 3 days a week on that, 4 days a week on this, and then which was unsustainable. And then in 2021, we had to just go full time on this. So it's been 2.5 years full time, a year prior to that part time, us earning our living off koi farming, and now we need to expand really significantly again. We're a little bit penned in on our site, and so that's something we're working on. But we've just taken on Bradley Rubra, who's come in as our assistant manager, and he's a young guy, but he has quite a few years experience in the aquatics trade and with koi, and he's come here to develop his experience in breeding, koi breeding, and he's just brilliant. He's hit the ground running, and he's a great asset. So hopefully in a few years' time we'll have a larger team and even more facilities and so forth. And that's the journey we're on.
Brilliant.
Okay, any more questions at this point in time? There's one over there.
I mean, obviously you're in an idyllic location here. Is there any opportunity to expand the footprint with fields around?
We've looked at it. We're looking at it. Not easy. Land. Yeah, it's really tricky to get hold of, and I think we're not far out of London. I appreciate the love for our spot, because we think it's pretty cool to have this much greenery this close to London. So we're certainly lucky on that.
It's my old stomping ground on
Well, okay. So look, it's really tricky, but the farmers around us, they need their land. They're using it. Mick next door, he has cows. He needs his space. Behind, similar kind of thing. So look, we're on it. Watch this space.
There we go, something for the future, eh?
Yeah. Any other questions at this point? Obviously, as we're walking around, just ask me if you've got anything you want to ask. So at the moment, that's fine. We'll start with the fry ponds, I think, actually, and then we'll come back through the broodfish tunnel.
Brilliant.
Finally, we managed to reach.
Wander around the mud ponds, guys.
And yes, he does look like a 12-year-old.
Give up there. It's getting bad with
Fresh
it.
face, Dave.
Oh God. I think well, what are you going to say? Don't start calling me a baby face, guys. Well, bless her that. I'll just call me Junior and call him Senior. I think that's the better idea, isn't it? Yo! No, there's 2 there, so we've got to sort it out somewhere.
Mine's 3 teams.
I can't do it, it's not that fence, it goes onto the street.
You pinch his cheeks then.
Yeah, don't get too close.
Do you have any problems with predators like newts and
Yeah, Even though we're not near a watercourse,
yeah,
we still have loads of predator issues.
yeah,
I mean, there's the obvious one, which is a heron.
yeah.
Look, they're easy to protect against because we have this netting that the heron can't get through it, and we're in the process of this year we've got to reline all the ponds and sort the netting out, sort the fencing out, and that's one of the things that we're doing at the moment. So look, this pond needs TLC. But from here you can kind of see what we have.
Yeah.
So herons is the obvious one. The thing is you have a gale and some of the netting blows down or it rips, and a heron visits you that day, and they can be in, and they can largely wipe out a pond.
It's almost like they know as well.
Yeah.
You can sense it. Because they're forever watching, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. So herons are the easiest one to protect against, but if something goes wrong, then we will suffer significant losses.
Do the most damage.
Yeah, and the thing is, and that has happened from time to time, not that often, because we're right on it, but it has happened from time to time. I even found a heron in one of the polytunnels a couple of years ago.
Wow.
Stood over a net of my shower keepers, which was difficult. But I think we're reasonably busy most of the time, so hopefully he wasn't there or she wasn't there for too long. But anyhow, the other predators are things like there's all the waterborne predators, dragonfly larvae, water boatmen, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And look, they can be a real pain. There's been the odd pond where we haven't pulled out very many fish, and we've pulled out more dragonfly larvae than fish, and then you kind of know what's happened there. And that's really tricky, whether it's a heron or something like that. We've put so much into it, that spawning, to get to that point. It might be an optimized pairing. It may be, eggs have been fertile, we've reared them, we've used space inside, which is money basically, and our time, like our infrastructure, and we have, when something like that doesn't fails, then there's nothing to get back from it. It is what it is. But and over the summer we only get maybe 2 goes on each pond, so that might be one of the goes. Grey wagtails. They're mine. Nobody would have thought that grey wagtails, cute little bird. Oh, this little bird, nice white, black. There's yellow on some of them.
Little tails going up and down.
Oh, they're so cute. Yeah. Well, they stand at the edge of the pond and they basically just pick off the fry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You would have never thought
They
that,
don't
would
eat
you?
little insects and that, but I can imagine them going for fry.
Yes, I can tell you. They just, it's so. Anyhow,
I think they can go through there as well.
Yes, and that's why they're my current
Nemesis.
biggish. Yes, nemesis. That's right. Yeah, because not much we can do about it. More nets and all this kind of stuff, possibly, but they are so small. It'll be very difficult to protect against such a small bird.
Yeah.
And I think that after being here now for a number of years, we've perhaps developed some of this wildlife that initially, we just loved seeing more wildlife because we just do. But then when they start eating your fish, it's a bit of a problem. So
Eating your profits.
yeah. So we stock knowing that certain amounts going to not make it for whatever reason. But yeah, so there are those predators. Newts. We do have some newts. I think when I've harvested a pond, if I've found half a dozen newts, that's been a lot. They will eat some, but maybe we lose a few thousand fish to newts, something like that. That we can handle. That's a bit annoying, but it hasn't been too bad. The odd grass snake we find. I don't know. Again, very, very rare. So mainly, heron, but we can easily protect against it. But the grey wagtails at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah,
You pay.
who would have thought?
You would have thought, yeah.
Yeah. So we've lined these ponds. I run them as natural ponds. That one we just relined a couple of days ago. We're filling that up now. Ideally, I would like mud, but we have a substrate. That's a brand new liner. We'll put a substrate into that. And when I was doing this as a hobby originally, I had very little time. Even a few hours a day, which was a lot of hobby time every day. For a breeding enterprise, that's nothing. So managing a clay pond or a natural bottom pond would have just been a complete non-starter because of all the weed management and so forth. So I had to go with lined and learn how to use them like a natural pond. That took me 4 years. So when I was a hobby, I had just 2 of these ponds, and it basically took 4 years of playing around with it. I'm not agriculture trained, but I sort of trained myself. So I bought the books that you would study at university, and I sort of trained myself. And but even then, it just took time. Then after 4 years, I was able to then create the same outcome, repeat relatively consistently. It's one of our key skills.
Do you add like mud to the pond or anything to?
There's various things we use, and it also depends on my water source. So we changed from the tap to a borehole a few years ago, and that also made a big difference because the water, we have to go 120 meters down. That water's well filtered, right? So it's actually so pure. It has almost no heavy metals in it. It's actually great water for, let's say, our recirculation systems, but it has no nutrients in it.
Yeah.
There's almost no nutrients in it. It's not literally zero, but it's very close, minimum. And you need the nutrients really to kick off the process, the natural process to create the rotifers, basically. But that's how we do things. So the fry that we rear, they don't stay inside very long. They come out at even 5-6 days sometimes old, and whenever the pond's ready. But they're like a Ferrari, these ponds. Maybe not quite, but they're. And I don't think this is fair on Ferrari, but as in they're finely balanced. So for me to get like a race, like a Formula 1 car, a race car, there's like a little window where they operate really well, and that's when I can maybe get 20,000 fish out of one of these, an inch long. And if they're not in that window when I put the fish in, we'll get maybe 2,000. Now that's really, I know if you're a hobbyist, 2,000 fish, loads. But that's for us. That's basically a failure. Mm-hmm. So. We'll still use them, obviously, but you know that's a significant loss. So identifying when that window is, that sort of narrow window, which can be sometimes 2 days, maybe 48 hours, sometimes a bit wider, sometimes a bit narrower. Getting the fish out in that right moment is critical. If I get it wrong by, let's say, a day, instead of 20,000, it might be 2,000. If I get it wrong by a few days, it will be nothing. 0.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's good as 0. So, anyway, these are the sort of things that I've learned over those first sort of few hobby years, with 2 ponds to practice on. And I get asked sometimes, how do you do it? But the bottom line is that there are lots of little tweaks and optimizations depending on how the water's changing, and you just have to. You can probably be taught it, like Bradley, for example. We will teach him, but other than that, so we learnt through trial and error, but quite a lot of trial and error. Yeah. So I think fish reared in a natural pond like that, I think is just fantastic, because they have all the first 2 weeks, which basically don't have to. We do feed, but artificially. But if you don't feed, it's almost as if it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
And if you get it exactly right, then just as the rotifer population is dying down, the Daphnia population is increasing, and the fry then are the right size to eat those.
So you have to get it spot on with the live food, like, yeah.
Say again, sorry?
You have to get it spot on with the live food when they're introduced, that the live food will come at the right time.
Yes, that's it. And so when you get those, when the rotifers are there when they need it, and when the Daphnia is there when they need it, it's sweet, because you know you've got it just right. The Formula 1 car has been set up right. It's greased and oiled in all the right place. You know, and the records, my records out of one of these ponds is 50,000, and I've done that a couple of times. Not last year, the year before.
Yeah, the year before you had a good haul, didn't you?
Yeah, we had 2 40,000s. You've been here with a 40,000 with the Oakleys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vince and Sue came down at really short notice. This was just Amanda and I. Our workloads were just immense, and we needed some help. And Vince and Sue came down at really short notice and helped us harvest this pond.
We also did the Asaki at that point as well.
That was our first year of Asagis. Sometimes you have so that was a 40,000, and that year we had 2 ponds with 40,000. But like, I work on the basis, if I get 20,000 or 20 to 25,000, that's good. That, for me, that's success. And then occasionally, I guess, things just work particularly well. The Asagis, that first year of the Asagis, a couple of years ago, whatever it was, sometimes you have a combination when we put the males and the females together, and it just works really well from the start. Not only do you get the fertilized eggs and so forth, which doesn't always happen, but also that the genetic combination works. And our Asagis, we thought they looked quite good, and then last year the output from that first spawning, some of our customers started winning awards at koi shows, and one of them won like a most unique award at one of the Midlands koi shows.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember.
I know the Asaki.
I've seen the picture of it. Yeah.
It made it into World Nishikoi magazine.
Magazine.
Yeah, that's where I've seen it. Yeah.
And the blog. And when I was in Japan, in February buying new broodstock, we popped in at Yugenji, who's in Michigami, which is like the Niigata breeders are spread out over an area of, you might drive 45 minutes, but there's like a village in the middle of all of that called Michigami, where there's, you know, a little, a bunch of them, and that's supposedly where, you know, I understand where, you know, koi started and so forth. So it's quite a prestigious little village to be in, and it's pretty as well, which helps. Yugenji's there. We popped in, and the female that we use is a female from him that I bought through Gatwick Koi, so not direct, but he, we explained that provenance of the fish to him, and I showed him what we produced with it, and he was suitably impressed, which was really, really cool. You can imagine for me, to get that kind of feedback. I showed him that fish, plus also a range of others that we'd produced, and some of that particular one, and a proportion of our Asagi output have a feature called Kado Gin, which is basically a Ginrin, but on just on the trailing edge of the scale, as opposed to Ginrin across, let's say, the whole scale. Both lovely features, but the Kado Gin, it's actually the Kado Gin on the Asagi just seems to work really well. Look, it's not something. It's something that's just gone right. And it was in one of the males, and it must have been partly in her as well, because we had a reasonably detailed conversation about proportions, actually, of what we saw in different types, and how long the Ginrin took to come out, and it's not immediately obvious when the fish are small. Anyway, so that was really cool. So that Asagi spawning that we harvested with Vincent Sue, you know, award-winning offspring and great feedback from the breeder who bred the female. So that, and he said to me, don't change the parent set. So I literally I haven't touched it. I bred the same thing in the second year, and we will be doing exactly the same parent set again this year. And yeah, I'm super happy with that. And actually, that's one of the you know, great outcomes we've had when we've started branching out from Kohaku. When I was in my hobby stage, this really feels like a distant past. Actually, I was only interested in Kohaku because at that point I was breeding fish solely to win a prize and to beat other fish in a koi show environment, to like baseline an achievement. And so I picked Kohaku because it's the #1 variety, and it's extremely widely produced, and therefore a very difficult one to beat other fish on, because they're just produced so widely. In actual fact, the selection on Kohaku is tricky, but you know, you can learn that. But actually producing them commercially is very, very difficult, because there's just nowhere to go on the pattern. It's like the pattern has to be just very well balanced for it to be considered as a Kohaku often that somebody would take into their pond. Like more well balanced than on most other varieties would need to be for somebody to accept into their pond, and that makes Kohaku really, really tough. So, but anyway, when we were starting to build this out into a business, we started breeding other varieties, and look, the success with the Asagis is a great example of why that was a good decision to take, and also how that when we've looked at one of these other varieties and we've taken it on, we can also produce good examples of those. So that's been really satisfying, actually. Yeah, and that was all in these ponds. There you go. But you know what, that year, so in that pond we harvested the Asagis. In this pond over there, we harvested the 40,000 Kajakis. Well, I don't think you were here that day.
No.
That was with somebody else. But that was that same year, that was the other pond that worked well. Okay, so out of, I think I had 60,000 Kajakis that year at an inch. I only had 15 that were good, that were worth our while to grow onto Nisai. That's 1 in 4,000. 1 in 4,000. But then those Kajakis were really good, and out of that year, there were some of the best koi in terms of just general quality that I think that we actually produced. So koi breeding is
Addictive?
Temperamental.
We just don't know, do you?
It's all of those things. So Vince says addictive, numbers game, temperamental. It is all those things. And you know, we do our optimizations around the parent set, around our processes, and that just helps nudge us forwards enough to be able to get enough right enough of the time for us to be successful. But these are really fine tweaks. Yes, question at that.
And apologies if you've already said, but do you spawn naturally or do you strip?
We do both. Yeah, we do both. When I get a new female in, and each year we will get we'll get some new stock in. This year actually I've bought a lot more than I've invested for the next few years. The first job is just to get this female spawned. And the safest way for her to do that is naturally. And I just want that to happen. I want the female to get through the process. Ideally, I really want some fertilised eggs and so forth, but that's step one. Then she's in the programme. I'll put her with males that I know tried and tested. I tried and tested, and so that can also help me test the fertility of her eggs and whether she's lays them well, this type of stuff. Okay. Year 2 on a key variety we'll hand strip, probably, but honestly it depends on other operational processes that are going on. If I haven't got for me to do that work, I've got to be up through the middle of the night. It's a right pain in the neck, and for an important variety we will do that, and then if we get sufficient eggs we'll split the eggs, put the milk from different males with it, rear them all separately, different ponds in the growing on facility. That's how we do our optimizations. But for me to put that kind of time into it, it's got to be one of our a more important variety for us, if you like, or we have to prioritise. Everything we do here is prioritised. We prioritise the budget we invest in our brood fish, and we prioritise our time, and this would be an example of how we would prioritise our time. Also, it depends on the time of the year, what the ambient temperature is and so forth as well. If it's really cold, I don't like to hand strip in cold weather, because although the water, we can heat the water, I can't do anything with the air because with our facilities that we've got. So that's a bit of a long answer. Both. I spawned this morning. We spawned Kahaki this morning. That's been a natural spawning. I spawned Deutsche Chiba yesterday. That was natural. I spawned Deutsche Chiba a couple of weeks ago. That was artificial. Across the year, it'd be more artificial than natural. But just to give you some some actual examples of things that are happening.
So if you had the resources, time and everything else, would you prefer to do it naturally?
I think for the first spawning, yes, because to bring the female into our program, and then to know that then time that we would spend on that, on her in the future would be worthwhile. But no, if I had the time and facilities, I would spawn artificially.
Do you find you get a better success rate spawning artificially?
It can, on average, yes. But things can go wrong when you spawn artificially as well. Not necessarily for the fish. I think it's a little bit harsher on the fish, but it's not like it's like 10 times harsher.
I would have expected it to be easier on the fish to strip them because they're not being battered around the pond.
I think that's quite a natural process.
Yeah.
And it's. I think you're starting with fish that are in good health. So there are some of these sort of things that I would take as a given, but I think it's probably worth sort of stating. That your fish have got to be in good health first. Yeah. So, they're parasite free. They're in good water. They've been like that for a while. They're in good condition. Yeah, they've been on the food for some time. So you've got fish in good condition. And then I think it's just quite a natural process. It's there's a lot of flicking and splashing, but
Have you had any fish damages during spawning?
occasional, but not the kind of it's usually like an equipment failure type thing. So if we have something drop into the pond that shouldn't be there, so it's usually our mistakes. I hand stripped. We did some Kiyotsuris, which is one of the varieties I brought back from Japan. We hand stripped. You know the okay, yeah. Well, it didn't. That one didn't go so well. We didn't get any fertilised eggs. Males are a bit young. You know that's quite a firm process for the males to go through, and so I think that's probably a more aggressive process than them just
Doing it themselves.
yeah. I think in that instance. So I think also generalising is always a dangerous thing. I think my feeling is a natural process for the natural spawning is slightly easier on the fish. Yeah. So for example, our very big fish, which we'll show you, we will get there. I was just talking to Gaz earlier. I was saying that I don't do a lot of talking on YouTube because I'm not so comfortable talking. I'm going
You are doing today.
on. So I am reflecting on that. But our very large females, our largest females, so Oakley, and we give them names. Opaline, you know, Oakley is well over a metre, 105 centimetres last time I measured her, which is she's from Otsuka. Oh, when I went there and I showed him, that was a really cool moment as well in Japan. I showed him the fish and what we produced as well with her, and he knew the fish because she was.
What size did she brought when you brought her over?
I bought her from Kwenikoi. Kwenikoi bought the fish from Otsuka. I think a 6-year-old at 97 cm. And look, those types of fish don't grow on trees.
Yeah.
So he knew the fish and triangulated it, even after all those years. So that was quite cool also to show him what we produced from her, and that was also quite good. I haven't hand stripped her. She is so big. I'd be. I would be worried about being able to support her sufficiently well.
Yeah.
And
It's a lot of mass in it on a fish of that size.
yes, so an opaline the same. And the other thing with those very large fish is there's so many eggs that that helps to manage my risks. I'm okay. We've spawned artificially mid-80s cm fish. That's like bread and butter. That's okay.
Yeah.
But opaline was 96 cm the last time we spawned her, and that was Makashi. Yeah. That was a year and a half ago. It's just that much bigger. Yeah, that's how we do things. Yeah.
Like a dinosaur. Look at the size of that.
Yeah. So we keep the females separate from the males. The males are some of the males are back here. Some of the males are next door as well.
Yeah.
As I was saying earlier, just so that we don't get any accidental spawnings.
All the females have that size as well, yeah.
We feed some of the fish. We feed sakikari and we use a medium pellet,
That's formula, that isn't it?
something like that.
It's interesting you don't need the 6mm pellets for them size.
Wow.
To be honest, it's just a practical thing. We just standardise around one size pellet, and we can order it in bulk.
Yeah. Easier.
Jeez!
Just be able to get to one more, can't you?
That's a lot of fish there, isn't it?
There are two lines of thought on the pellet size. On the smaller pellet size, the fish, although they've got teeth and they'll grind it up a bit, the food will go through and there's a larger surface area for the food to be absorbed as it's going through the intestine of the fish. If you have the larger pellet, then the fish has to use less effort to eat it. Because it's got to, for a certain mass of food, it's got to do less gulps or whatever. And so I spoke to that we use and we supply sake kari. We use and we supply a range of Coppins foods. Okay, so that's the source. I spoke to the Coppins guy about it, and he said he couldn't answer the question, and that's their job. So I'm not. We use 3 mil. The females we hear that many of them have been bought in big and then grown bigger. So we've grown fish on 3 mil. It helps to across the site. It helps to standardise.
Massive, isn't
The fish I bought in Japan, they came in February and they're out of quarantine about a week ago, something like that.
Which one did you buy?
There's some of the females are in here, all the goshkis, kitsuri, king kitsuri, there is a king shower in here as well. Also, I got Deutsch shower, that's next door. Just trying to think now. Kin Shiro. There's one chargo in here.
Jeez!
And where did that one come from? Is something direct from Japan?
Hopefully I got from Konikoi, and she's from Otsuka, and for us, what that gives us, because we bought her to breed from, she looks
Damn
great,
big is
but
that one? That would have been
that's not why we bought her.
That might be.
We bought her to breed from, and I think
That made a big tail then when that came past
we
then.
bought her
Down
10
here, look
about
at
2
swirls
years ago.
coming up.
So
How much longer do you think you'll get?
I'm worried about it. A few years, she's a huge investment. The spawning last year pretty much failed. So that we sell,
There we go, there's
we will have a very high
There's
growth
Oakland there.
potential. As high a growth
The
potential
size of
as
that head.
imported koi from Japan, because we are, whilst we have some direct UK competitors, koi farms from the UK, koi breeders, we always look to the imported koi, and they do a reasonable job. We look to the imported koi from Japan as what we benchmark ourselves against. So our goal is to be a locally produced, genuine alternative to imported koi from Japan. Because that's the benchmark. Now the reality is that that's, for the customers that buy from us, they get that.
Do you select some of your...
They last a long time,
Locally.
but they don't last forever.
I thought he was going to eat me camera then. Nice, isn't it?
At least he likes them. Like my missus.
They can get the colour, like the base colour, like yellow, red or white. But to get a black and to have it metallic. To have a metallic black is very difficult.
Yeah. God damn.
Is that the one that's just over to me?
No. That's the big chad. Sorry,
That's Oakley.
the impression.
I don't think I haven't been out.
There's the big chad.
I think if you like a unique fish, I think they look quite interesting.
It's like a manatee or something, doesn't it? It looks like a fish.
Look at the scales, Daz, man.
Yeah. Food print on the scales is really nice.
That's nice as well.
I looked at that from a breeding perspective, and I looked at it going, what ratio am I going to get?
Size of the Kajaka.
Yeah, that's a nice Kajaka as well, isn't it?
we then get into a part of the toy trade where we don't operate,
That is nuts, Matt. It's a beast. It is a beast, isn't it? What size is that? About 2 kilo.
It's deep both of us, don't you?
Yeah.
should we move on?
I can't get as close as Gaz with these. I didn't bring my tripod with me, did I?
Right, should we wander around next door?
Oh, I can go out that way. I just thought you wanted to make a concentration face like that.
From the 90 Days line show, the daddy of my Sardi's in there.
Is it?
Yeah. One of your Sardi's there. And if it grows up like that, it'll be well pleased.
Well, it's not.
I've got about 50 bits of tubers in there. That's my, after the customer interest from our lateral patterned ones, I brought in 2 Sansai females from Yamaji. And I spawned them, these are my first, this is my first batch then trying to produce bits of tubers. And I'm aiming at the side base pattern, so
Yeah.
I'm not aiming at the pattern on the top, I'm aiming for a pattern, a lateral pattern, but
Yeah.
with some ups and downs in it. So I equate it to like a scene in the Lake District. I've written this, but you know, in the autumn you have the grey sky, you have the brown hills with the rolling hills, and that is a British scene. And it reminded me of a few of the fish that we produced from that first accidental British tuber spawning. And that's what I'm aiming at. But it's going to take 5 or 10 years to get there. This is the first. This is my first proper go at it. If you see what I mean.
Just going to get it in for the record. Dibs. There's a real nice one in there, mate. That's really, really nice. They're good, though.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah.
You don't see it around the whole lot either.
This morning.
Fresh.
This is Deutsche Metallica tuber.
Deutsche Metallica
Not
tuber,
that you
fresh
can-
spawning.
Yeah. And the Kahaki down there.
Oh, look, check out all that.
Yeah, all the eggs.
Look at all the eggs all over there.
Yeah.
Absolutely covered in them.
Look at the ones up the side of the.
Oh,
net.
over the netting as well.
They all look like they're fertilised as well, don't they?
Up and coming future stock.
Them Dyke achiever.
They haven't hatched yet. That'll be probably tomorrow.
This is this morning's spawning.
I have bigger nets. I have much bigger nets. This is what I had available. My Deutsche achiever and the Deutsche females are quite small.
Absolutely tons and tons of eggs all the way around the edge. Yeah, eggs everywhere, mate. So that's this morning's, that's yesterday's spawning. Now have a look at these guys. There's some beautiful. Whoa! I got it on camera. Nearly got soaked then. Whoa, and again. They are nice. That one there.
Oh, that one's just jumped in your pocket.
That one.
No number.
You could have any one of them, mate, couldn't you?
So that's the one you're after, one like that.
So I don't assume the food
One
gets
like that.
moist. No, on the auto feeder.
Sorry? What have we got in here?
Nice ones in there, Jeff.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, Russ.
Are they good, you know? They're just really
Metallic, aren't they?
Yeah.
Look at that. That's good.
I'm looking.
Yeah.
I'm looking at.
You know, I wasn't
That's good treatment. Right. Yeah, so these are the opaline, aconite. There's the odd one with a knock scale, which I know about.
Are these ones for sale?
No.
No.
These are being sold in September.
In September?
Yeah. This is my engineer. We've got a couple of weeks. Yeah, this is built off the ground up. This is the beauty of it. This is, the water level is 1 metre to 5. Hang on, guys. Right, good show, man. So this is a mixture of some of ours and some from Japan. And it's not always the ones you think. Right, all the joints and tubers are ours. All the triboys are ours. The Shiros, some of them are ours, some of them are Motako. Smaller Akanissai. So almost some of the stuff from my Deutz Metallic spawning last year. Kikikuru, Kikikuru. Some Deutz are tubers. The odd Kahaku, and a few other bits and bobs. You might even see a commander in there.
There you go. That Kumon really is nice. That's really good.
So that came out of our Deutz tuber spawning last year, and I thought it's not, the chances of us getting a decent one is very low. But it is decent. And we pulled it out, when I looked at it, it's like the black is jet black.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, get black. Yeah, look at them there. Yeah, two of them.
Get them out.
We only had a few.
I've done a bit of research this way. So it seems to need those people eating longer and everybody complains about it, and nothing really this. I mean, it's just saying that it's actually affected last year,
So it's not that.
Right guys, what we're going to do now is a little bit of a giveaway. What we've decided we were going to do is everybody's put £10 in. We're going to do a little bit of a raffle. So as you can see, I mean, this is not going to benefit any of you guys, but it's going to benefit the people that turned up. We've got all the tickets in there, and it's going to be a total of, oh, we've got 18 people, so it's 180 quid for the lucky winner to pick from, and Adam and Amanda have also added a little bit of extra in as well. So there's 2 prizes going to be drawn, and what we're going to do is we're going to get Vicky and Paul daughter Bethany to do the draw for us. Bethany, what we're going to ask you to do, sweetheart, if you wouldn't mind, is give that bucket a good stir up and a good shake. Careful, oh, careful. We lost a few. Your foot up. I think we all. One more went down that way somewhere. 1 second.
I don't think so.
I think I can find it.
There's only 2.
I got big spoon.
Right then, if you could do me a huge favour, Bethany, and you could pick us one out of there, please.
Pick one.
There we go. Right. Let's open it up and see what.
Let's have a look.
Go on, you do pleasures for me, mate.
That's definitely a fix. It's starting. KK.
We got Dave. There you go, Dave. Rocket boy.
I won something. Don't pass it out.
Right, Dave. Don't pop it back in. Dave, could you do me a favour now? Pick out the second winner.
there we go, try open it. We have got Aaron.
Aaron.
Behind you.
Hey, there we go, mate. Winner number 2. There we go. So we've got Rocky Boy has won, and we've got Aaron who's won the second one. So we're going to get them sorted out, guys, and we'll get back to you in a tick. So here we've got the winning man here. And this is what he's going for.
He's picked 10.
10 out of this one, which is, what's it say down there, Ben?
10 for 80 quid.
10 for 80 quid.
It's got a nice little selection actually. Couple of showers, couple of Chagoi, normal achiever, Deutsche achiever, Shiro, and a couple of shower.
Very nice.
Oh, got a nice Sorrowboy in there as well. Look at that little Sorrowboy down there.
And I've still got
£100.
money
That
to
Sorrowboy.
spend. No, 170.
And at 170, so you still got your 90 to go.
Still got 90 to go. Yeah, I'll put some more water in there.
Happy?
Oh, I'm over the moon, guys. I can't believe I won something.
In the van, coming here, he was bitching and moaning how he never wins
I
anything.
never win. I never do.
Wow. There you go, your look's changed, mate.
The missus is going to go, oh my God. How much have you spent on that?
A tenner.
A tenner, in all honesty.
Yeah, some
There
crackers
you go.
in there, maybe. Take that to
There
Adam.
you go.
So that's
It was
10
still
for 80.
That's 10 for 8. You've still got more to come.
And there's one happy chap. Well, guys, I just thought I'd give you a quick look round through some of the vats that we've got, what Adam's got to display. There is 125 selection of fish. Look at these guys. Some absolute little beauties.
Have you found one for me?
I have, mate, but I don't think it's for sale, bud.
What, in there?
Not in here, no. So I can find you one in here if you want.
I want one out of there, yeah.
Right, there we go. We have a challenge. We have to find a fish for Jeff. I reckon we send him home with a Karashi guy. Next one we've got, slightly bigger stock again. Nice Kahaku there. Nice two-step there.
Look at that one there as well.
Yeah.
Nice pattern.
Some very nice fish. And this is one that Adam and Amanda did as a competition for us. We had to guess the overall size and cm of all these fish. And the lucky winner of that one was Busy V.
On the size one?
Yeah.
He's a good judge of size.
Well, it's all the ones that were totally overestimated were obviously the men.
I wasn't that far off. I was pretty close.
I fucking well heard that, Mrs. B.
Some of their 4 to 5 inches, which Dave's just selected through and picked himself a good selection of.
Yep. 10 out of there.
And we've got
80 quid.
10 for 80 quid, a 5 for 50.
And that leaves me with another 170, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you've another 90 to spend.
90 quid.
90 to spend. You can get yourself a real good one.
I could.
Or lots of little ones that I want to become really good ones.
Yeah.
Selection of his chags and Saragoi, I think. Karashi Goi, possibly. Enjoyed your day, Vic?
Yep.
Wicked. What's these ones? What's this price? Oh, that's all food. No, that's not. Oh, these are individually priced in the book. All book price fish. But yeah, some nice examples in there as well. Dave, Vince and Hertzkoi are now going through a good selection of these ones as well.
Look at that for Deutsche Tuber. Lovely little pattern on them.
Yeah. And what's this? How much is these ones, Vince? So we can just have a quick note.
These are 5 for
54 inch
35
mix.
or 10 for 55.
50 for 200. There you go.
Not bad, is it?
Not bad that at all. These guys are going to have some fun picking them. Good man. Yeah. Enjoyed your day, Dave, so far?
Certainly have, and thanks for the invite, guys. And like
My
I said,
pleasure, mate. Glad everybody's enjoyed it.
I'm going home with one, and I wasn't expecting to.
Sorry. Go on.
I'm going home with one, but I wasn't expecting to. But when you see them, I'm like, I've got to have that one.
That's it.
And people have put their input in as well, and I've also partly been gifted it as well. So it's happy days. Thanks very much,
There we
Aaron.
go. Nice one, Aaron. There we go. Again, some lovely examples. Let's have a quick look from this one. The Asagis, Chads, Karashi Goi, I know a couple of Shurutsuris, Kiyotsuris, Doits, the Chiba there, some lovely fish. We've got this one here, there we go, 65 pounds each, lovely fish to select through and pick from again. Absolute little belters.
Yeah. I know some people do it's just easier if it's floating. Yeah.
We got Dave's fish there. I think this is the one that Dave selected. If you can see that there. And then we've got John's fish there. John Wales. You might recognise him, guys, who came with us on the Polish trip to Poland. But again, some beautiful fish in here to select through. £50 a piece. So all in all, guys, everybody looks like they've had a real good time. They enjoyed it so far. So I'm gonna have a nosy through, have a look at some of these fish myself, and then I'll get back to you in a bit. Look at this, guys. Our Vince is in his element. Twisted one.
Serving customers at Adam Byer Koi Farm. Can't get better than that, can it?
Is that what they selected?
Yeah, that's what they've selected. New to the hobby as well.
Very nice. Have you helped them with the selection?
I have.
Good man.
I have. And it's nice to see a female getting so enthusiastic about the koi.
Great, man. That's all we want. We want more, don't we?
But yeah, this is the third customer that's been served.
Is it?
Yeah.
Vince, come down for a day out with the GKP and ended up getting himself a part-time job. Oh, we're tailing down with the numbers now, guys. A few people have bagged the fish, got a few. Our Jeff's got a couple. He's got himself a lovely Deutsche Achiever just in there. It's not difficult for you to see. See if we can turn it over. There we go. Lovely Deutsche Achiever and a nice Casio going just over there. Look at them all out here, all waiting patiently. And Sean he's waiting for his favourite one, but he's keeping his cards close to his chest until he nubbed it. You enjoyed it then, Dave?
Absolutely brilliant day. And even better because I won the raffle.
There you go, mate. You're bargain. Have you enjoyed it, Jeff?
Enjoyed it.
Good man. Cole, you had a good day?
Yeah, it's been lovely.
Barbara and Vicky, have you enjoyed yours?
Fabulous. Yes.
You enjoyed it, bud?
Absolutely great day, mate.
Good man. And I've got plenty to go on with from what I see.
Yeah, plenty to go home with. Absolutely.
you want, mate?
Keep posting on that one.
Hey guys, this is somewhere you need to come and check out. Very hospitable, lovely tour, and got shown around everything. Look at him, loving this, isn't he? Right guys, well we've all had a fantastic day and I think from what I can gather everybody's really enjoyed it. If
more than others.
really are. If you're enjoying this kind of content guys, do us a huge favour, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and until next time,
keep smiling.
we'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy guys.
Bye.
Yeah, it has. Just a little bit of optional extra footage. The new pond is up and partially filled with Daz has moved a few out here as well. Look how clear that's come now. That's well good, isn't it?
You see what they made me? You see what they made me do, Jeff?
We're just giving some of Daz's food, some of Daz's fish a bit of a feed. Wicked. We've had a great day. It's been absolutely fantastic, belting.
What about on here?
We've even had a KFC on his way home. Listen to how much energy it give him. Chelping away like crazy in the background. And he goes all quiet on me. Cheers, Jeff. Well, yeah, been a belting day. All had a fantastic time. Really nice of Adam and Amanda to do what they did and show us around and take us around, and a little bit of prizes and a little bit of a fun game that they put on for us as well. Guess the fish, guess their overall size of fish, which is absolutely wicked. Jeff won one, Busy Bee won the other, and then obviously Rocket Boy won the big main one. Catch up with you later, guys.